I always believe that the most precious gift a mother can give her child is security, not just love, not just advice, but something that lasts long after words fade. When my husband passed away, Lily was just 19. I raised her alone. Every day I worked 2 shifts, one at the hospital, the other at night tutoring children, just to make sure she never felt the absence of a father. And when she got married at 26, I wanted to give her something special, something she could call her own, so I handed her the keys to the villa, a beautiful, sunlit home in the suburbs. 3 bedrooms, a garden, and every corner filled with my love. I said, "This is yours now, Lily. Build your future here." She cried. I cried. Even her new husband, Daniel, looked touched, but what I didn't know was that the gift I gave her would soon become the battleground for something far more painful than I ever imagined, because not long after she moved in, they came. At first, it was just visits. Daniel's parents would come by on weekends. They'd sit in the living room, commenting on the curtains, the wall colors, the kitchen layout. Small things, subtle things. This villa is nice, though I've always preferred marble floors. Your mother has taste, but that dining table looks a little cheap, doesn't it? Lily would laugh nervously. Daniel would smile but say nothing. And I stayed quiet. I didn't want to interfere. It was her marriage now, but the visits became longer. A weekend turned into a week. A week turned into a month, and then one day, while I was visiting Lily with a homemade casserole, I saw them unloading a truck, boxes, furniture, a cupboard, clothes. I stood there, frozen. Lily avoided my eyes. Daniel's mother waved at me like it was a casual get-together. "We thought we'd stay here for a while, Shabnam APA. It's more spacious than our apartment. Plus, Lily's expecting. You didn't tell us." Yes. Lily was pregnant. That was the first I heard of it. I forced a smile. Said congratulations, but inside me, something twisted. They moved in that night, Daniel's father, mother, and his younger brother, Imran, who had just failed his second year of college and spent his time playing video games and smoking on the balcony. Suddenly, Lily's peaceful new life in the villa became a storm. It started with space. They took the master bedroom, saying the elder couple should have the largest room for comfort. Lily and Daniel were moved to the guest room, and Imran got Lily's old study. I visited one afternoon and found the baby clothes I'd gifted her shoved into plastic bags in a hallway corner. My photos were off the wall, replaced by a large painting of some old ancestral home. When I asked Lily about it, she said quietly, "Amy, please. I don't want to cause tension. They'll leave soon. Just give it time." Then came control. They told Lily what to cook, when to cook it, and how much. Daniel's mother would openly say things like, "In our house, we don't make dal with this much turmeric. You should learn properly if you want to be a real wife. Don't wear this type of nightgown, it's not respectful in front of elders." I watched as my confident, intelligent daughter began shrinking. She stopped picking up my calls as often. Her voice lost that spark. Once I heard her crying on the phone, but when I asked, she quickly wiped her tears and said it was nothing. Daniel, he had changed too. He wasn't cruel, not directly. But he was distant. "They're my parents, Lily," he'd say, "they're old. We should take care of them. Why do you always complain?" He didn't see the manipulation. Or maybe he chose not to, then. They tried to redecorate. I came over one weekend to find the kitchen being torn apart, new tiles, new sink, new cabinets. I was shocked. Who approved this? I asked. Daniel's mother smiled and said, "Oh, don't worry. We're paying for it. We just want to make the place feel more like home." More like home. That word hit me like a slap. This wasn't their home. Later that evening, Lily called me in secret. She whispered through tears, "Amy, they're talking about adding their name to the property documents. Imran said it makes sense since the house is part of Daniel's new family unit now." I clenched the phone in my hand. They had crossed the line. This wasn't about family anymore. This was about taking over something that was never theirs to begin with. But I didn't explode, no. I've learned that power Doesn't always scream, sometimes, it waits. I called my lawyer the next morning, you see. I had never officially transferred the ownership of the villa. Yes, I told Lily it was hers. And yes, I meant every word of it, but legally. The villa was still under my name. I had planned to change it after her baby was born. To add both their names with love and trust, but now. I was glad I hadn't. That weekend, I invited everyone to dinner. I dressed up. I cooked every dish with care. Lily looked confused when I arrived, but I smiled and kissed her forehead. Just a small celebration, I said. For your pregnancy. We all sat down. Daniel's father made small talk. Imran scrolled through his phone. Daniel's mother criticized my choice of spice. As usual, and then, as I served dessert, I stood up. Before we eat, I just wanted to share a small announcement. They all looked up. I smiled, calm and clear. I hope you're all packed, because I just spoke to my lawyer. Turns out, the villa's still in my name. And I've decided it's time for everyone who doesn't belong here to leave. Daniel's spoon froze midair. His mother's face turned pale. Lily gasped. Imran dropped his phone. What are you saying? Daniel's father stammered. I'm saying this house isn't yours, I replied, and I never gave you the right to invade my daughter's life under the mask of family. Lily broke into tears. But not out of fear, it was relief. Daniel tried to argue. He begged me to reconsider, but for once, I didn't back down. I handed him a sealed envelope. Inside was a notice from my lawyer, asking them to vacate the premises in 7 days, or face legal action. They left in 4 days, just like I said, no grand goodbye, no apologies, just dragging suitcases and defeated faces, with Lily standing silently at the door. Daniel's mother refused to make eye contact. His father muttered something about disrespect and modern girls under his breath, and Daniel. He looked back once. Just once. At Lily, but she didn't wave. She didn't cry. She didn't even blink, because something inside her had changed. For the first few days, the house felt empty, no shouting in the kitchen. No TV playing cricket matches late into the night. No judgmental stares. Just quiet, and Lily, she moved like a ghost through the villa. Touching walls. Rearranging furniture. Picking up broken things. She barely spoke. She barely ate. She was in her 5th month now, and all I could think about was whether the baby could feel the weight she carried in her chest. One night, I found her sitting alone in the nursery, surrounded by unopened boxes of baby clothes. Do you think I failed? She asked, not looking at me. My heart sank. She looked so small in that chair. So far from the strong, bright girl I had raised. I knelt beside her, took her hand. No, I said. You didn't fail. You loved. You trusted. That's not failure. She looked at me finally. Her eyes were glassy. But why didn't he protect me, Amy? She whispered. Why did he let them treat me like that? I didn't have an answer that night. Only silence. The kind only a mother understands. 2 weeks passed. Then 3, Daniel didn't call. Not once, and then, he showed up. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was pruning the garden roses when I saw his car pull in. He got out slowly, holding a bouquet of lilies. Lily was in the kitchen. I didn't call her. I didn't warn her. I just watched from the garden gate. He rang the doorbell like a stranger. When she opened the door and saw him, I saw her entire body freeze. Lily, he said. I came to talk. She stepped outside, arms folded. I don't think there's anything left to say, she replied. He tried to hand her the flowers. She didn't take them. Please, he said. I didn't know things would get so bad. I should have stood up for you. I was caught in the middle. No, Daniel, she said. You were never in the middle. You were always on their side. He looked stunned. I just wanted peace, he said quietly. At my cost? She replied. I begged you. I cried. I told you they were hurting me. And all you did was ask me to adjust. Compromise. Stay silent. Daniel looked down. The bouquet trembled in his hand. I thought marriage was about sacrifice, he murmured, and so did I, Lily said. But I was the only one doing it. She stood there for a moment longer, then said, I'm not asking you to choose between me and your parents. I'm just done living in a house where I don't matter. Then she walked back inside. Closed the door. He stood there for a long time. Then turned around and left. The flowers were still in his hand. The following days were quiet again. But different. Lily smiled a little more. She joined me for tea in the mornings. She began painting again. And one morning, she came into my room and said, I want to transfer the villa into your name again. I looked up, confused. But I gave it to you, I said. I know, she replied. But I want to earn it this time. I want to stand on my own feet. For my baby. Tears filled my eyes. I shook my head. No, Lily. You don't need to earn my love. Or my trust. This house is yours. It always was. You just forgot for a while. She hugged me then. The longest, tightest hug. That evening, we sat on the balcony, the sky painted in gold and pink. She held her belly gently, and she said, I think I want to name her Aman. For peace.
It was a Thursday evening when everything shifted. I remember the sky that day, stormy, restless, the kind that made the curtains flutter even when the windows were shut. Something in the air felt heavy, unsettled. I was home, sorting through old photo albums, when my phone rang. Lily. I answered immediately. Hello, John? But there was no greeting. Just soft sobs. Amy. She whispered, I think I made a mistake. I froze. What happened, Lily? I went to the lawyer today, she said. They're trying to make me sign something. My chest tightened. What kind of something? Her voice cracked. A property modification. They told me it's just a formal step to include Ethan's parents on the deed. For inheritance safety. But I don't understand all the clauses, Amy. And I didn't even know this was being discussed. I sat down. My heart began to pound, slow and deep. Did you sign it? I asked. No, she said quickly. I told them I needed time. Ethan was there, but he didn't push. He just kept saying, it's no big deal, babe. Their family. I felt something cold bloom inside me. They weren't just trying to invade her life now. They were trying to claim what was never theirs. That night, I couldn't sleep. I walked the floor of my small apartment, each step echoing with memories. Lily's first steps. Her college graduation. The day she called to say she was in love. All of it was playing like a slideshow in my mind, fast, slow, rewinding again. I had given her the villa because I wanted her to have freedom. Roots. A place that would protect her. And now, the very people who were supposed to respect her were turning it into a prison. I called my lawyer at 7 a.m. the next day. I need a copy of the current title deed, I said. When it arrived in my email, I stared at it for a long time. My name, still mine. I had never gone through with the transfer, always intending to do it after Lily gave birth. It was meant to be a gesture of final trust. A ribbon on a gift already given. Now. It was my lifeline. Over the next few days, I began preparing quietly. I didn't tell Lily yet. I didn't want to burden her with hope before I was sure. Instead, I watched. I visited the villa often, under the pretense of bringing food, or checking in on her pregnancy. Each time, I saw a little more of what they were doing to her. Ethan's mother now occupied the master bedroom full-time. Lily had been moved to the smaller guest room with only a portable fan. Her art supplies were packed away in the garage to make space. The kitchen had been rearranged completely, and my favorite heirloom bowls were gone, donated or discarded, they said. Lily didn't even speak when I arrived anymore. Just smiled softly, as if trying not to crack, but one afternoon, I caught a glimpse of her real feelings. She was sitting on the back porch alone, watching the garden. I sat beside her silently. After a long moment, she whispered, sometimes I feel like this house is disappearing piece by piece. And I can't do anything to stop it. I didn't answer. I just took her hand. That's when I knew the time had come. I called Ethan and his family that week, inviting them to a pregnancy celebration dinner. Something small. Casual. They arrived cheerfully, unaware. Ethan's mother commented on my cooking before even tasting it. His father began asking questions about baby names. Ethan himself scrolled through his phone at the table, not engaging at all. And then, as dessert was being served, I stood up. Before we finish, I'd like to say something, I said. The room went still. I looked around, at their faces, at Lily's anxious eyes. I pulled out a manila envelope and placed it on the table. This is a formal notice, I said. From my lawyer. Ethan sat up straighter. What kind of notice? A notice of eviction, I said evenly. The villa belongs to me, not Lily. I never completed the title transfer. And you, I looked directly at his parents, have 7 days to vacate. There was a stunned silence. Ethan's mother was the first to react. You're joking, she said, laughing uncomfortably. I'm not. But we're family. She said, her voice rising. This is our grandchild's home. No, I said firmly. This is my daughter's home. And you've made her feel like a stranger in it. Ethan looked shocked. Lily. Is this true? Lily opened her mouth. Then closed it. I waited. She looked at me, then at him. Then at his parents. And something changed in her face. Yes, she said. It's true. Ethan's mother slammed her spoon down. You're tearing this family apart. No, Lily said quietly. You did. You just didn't expect anyone to stop you. It was the first time I saw her look them in the eyes, without fear. They left the villa that weekend, no drama. No shouting. Just suitcases, silence, and a front door that finally closed behind them. And when they were gone, Lily collapsed into my arms and sobbed, not from pain. From release, from the sudden, almost terrifying relief of having the weight lifted, but the real twist wasn't the eviction. It came 3 days later. Ethan returned. He stood at the gate, holding flowers, wearing a shirt I had gifted him last Eid. Lily didn't want to see him, but I encouraged her. Listen, I said. Even if you don't forgive, let him speak. You deserve answers. She met him on the porch. He began with apologies. Regrets. Soft-spoken pleas. I didn't know how bad it had gotten, he said. I thought you were exaggerating. Lily listened. Then said, I begged you, Ethan. I cried in front of you. And every time, you said, it's not that bad. I was trying to keep peace, he whispered, at my expense, she said. And our child's. I still love you, he said. She paused. Then said, then prove it. Earn it. Without them. He hesitated. I can't leave them, he admitted. They have no one else. She stepped back. Then you've already chosen, she said softly. That night, Lily said something that made my heart swell with pride. I'm not waiting for someone to save me anymore, she said. Because I already did. And in that moment, I knew, the gift I gave her wasn't just a villa. It was the reminder of her own strength, her voice, her boundaries.
The days after Ethan left were quiet, not peaceful, just quiet. Like the hush after a storm when everything is still standing, but nothing feels quite the same. Lily moved back into the master bedroom. I helped her rehang the artwork, restock the shelves, and air out the rooms that had been shut for weeks. Each corner of the villa was filled with ghosts, memories of words whispered too softly, glances ignored, dignity sacrificed. But slowly, room by room, we took it back. One morning, while we were organizing the study, Lily found a small envelope tucked behind a stack of books. It was from Ethan's mother, a handwritten letter. With shaking hands, she opened it and read aloud. Dear Lily, you may think I was cruel. But everything I did was for my son. You were never raised in our world. You don't understand how wealth works, how inheritance should be handled. We were protecting him. And our future, you'll never be one of us. But I hope you're content with what you took. Lily stood frozen, then slowly, she folded the letter and tossed it into the fireplace. She didn't cry, not anymore. That's when I knew she had crossed a line no one could ever drag her back over. But the final confrontation was still waiting, and it came from someone we didn't expect, Ethan's father. One evening, just as the sun dipped behind the garden wall, a luxury car pulled up to the villa gate. I was there. I stepped out to meet him. "May I come in?" he asked, voice calm. I shook my head. "This is not your home." "I won't stay long," he said. "I just want to speak to my daughter-in-law." "Alone?" I stared at him. Then called Lily. She stepped outside with her head high and her back straight. He offered her a small velvet box. "A peace gift," he said. "For the baby." Lily didn't take it. "Is that what this is?" she asked. "Peace." He sighed. "I won't pretend we handled things well. But my son. He's still in love with you. He wants to raise this child together." "And what do you want?" she asked. "I want security," he said honestly. "You're sitting on a multi-million-dollar asset. One you didn't build. One you didn't even pay for." My blood boiled, but I stayed silent. "You think this villa is power," he continued. "But you're alone. And power shifts. My son was your shield. You should consider reconciliation." Lily didn't move. She looked at him. Then at the garden. Then at me, and then, calmly, she smiled. "Tell your son," she said, "that love without respect isn't love." His face darkened. "This is bigger than you." She stepped forward. Her voice cold. "No. This is about me. And for the first time in my life, I'm going to live it on my terms." He left. No argument. No threats, just silence. But that silence carried an echo, the sound of a patriarchal chain snapping clean in half. In the weeks that followed, Lily flourished. She began painting again. Her studio reopened. Clients returned, and a new exhibition was announced. She even started hosting prenatal classes in the villa's sunroom, a soft, safe space for other women navigating motherhood alone. And then, she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, eyes like hers, voice like fire. We named her Hope, but life had one more twist in store. A letter came, this time, from Ethan, not handwritten, typed. Formal. He was filing for partial custody. Lily stared at the paper. "Not afraid. Not surprised, of course," she said softly. "He still thinks he can control the narrative." We contacted our lawyer. Prepared our response, but Lily added something no one expected, a diary entry, typed, dated, and signed, outlining every instance of emotional manipulation, coercive control, and the attempt to usurp her legal rights to the property. It wasn't just paperwork, it was a timeline of trauma, and when the judge read it, the case was dismissed, no custody granted, visitation, restricted, monitored, and entirely at Lily's discretion. That was the real liberation, not from a man, not from a family, but from the idea that forgiveness requires silence. Lily never stopped loving Ethan. Not entirely, but she stopped loving the version of herself that tolerated being minimized. She still lives in the villa, but it's different now. It's not a symbol of wealth anymore. It's a symbol of her voice, her boundaries, her healing, and sometimes, when the wind moves through the garden just right, she swears she can still hear her younger self laughing in the halls. The girl who once said yes to everyone, now lives in a home where her no echoes louder than ever. Sometimes, the fiercest battles aren't fought with fists or fire. They're fought with silence. With dignity. With truth, and sometimes, the strongest thing a woman can do is say, enough. They left quietly, no shouting. No more manipulation. No scenes. Daniel's parents packed their bags, avoided my eyes, and walked out of the villa like guests overstaying a welcome they never truly received. Imran didn't say a word, just pulled his hoodie over his head and slunk out with his video game console tucked under his arm. Daniel, though. He hesitated. He lingered in the hallway, watching Lily as she stood by the window with her arms crossed over her belly, her expression unreadable. I stood beside her. Not between them, but beside her. He looked at both of us and said, "You humiliated my family, Amy. That was never your right. I didn't flinch. I looked at him, calmly, directly, and they tried to erase mine. That was never theirs. He blinked. Didn't reply. Then turned. And walked out the door. The silence that followed was heavy, but peaceful. The villa, once so filled with noise and intrusion, finally breathed again. The air felt lighter. The walls didn't echo with criticism or judgment anymore, just peace, and the sound of Lily crying. I held her, gently, letting her lean into me like she hadn't done since she was a little girl. I'm so sorry. Amy, she whispered. I let them walk over everything you gave me. I was afraid. Afraid of losing him. Afraid of starting over. Afraid of disappointing everyone. I stroked her hair, holding back my own tears. You didn't disappoint me, I said. You were trying to keep your family together. You just forgot that you were allowed to draw the line when they tried to break you instead. Over the next few weeks, Lily began to return to herself. She smiled again. Ate properly. Started decorating the baby's room, this time the way she wanted, with yellow walls and soft toys. She even reopened her freelance graphic design business, something she'd paused during the chaos. Daniel called a few times. Lily picked up once. He asked her to come stay with him at his parents' flat. Said things would be different, but she said something simple, quiet, but firm. If it's different, you'll prove it with actions, not promises. I'm not moving anywhere unless I feel safe. Not for me. Not for our child. He didn't call again, and maybe that was for the best. Then, one morning, about 2 months later, Lily stood in front of me, holding a file folder. Inside were legal papers. She had drawn up a joint deed agreement, this time from her side. She wanted to co-own the villa with me. You gave me everything, Amy, she said, and I want you to know that this will always be your home too. I'm not just your daughter, I'm your partner in life now. I didn't sign immediately, I just hugged her. Tight. Proud. Relieved. The baby came in spring, a little girl with soft cheeks and curious eyes. Lily named her Amira, which means princess, but also leader. Because, as she said, I want her to grow up never confusing kindness with weakness, and I want her to see that love doesn't mean surrendering who you are. Sometimes I walk through the villa now, and it feels like it's breathing again. There's laughter in the kitchen. There are baby clothes hanging near the window. There are tiny feet running over the floors that once echoed with judgment, and sometimes I stop and think about how close I came to losing all of it, to losing my daughter to a quiet kind of suffocation. But in the end, one sentence. One moment of standing up. Saved not just a home, it saved her. It reminded her that love should never come at the cost of dignity, and that even the most generous gifts have boundaries. You can give your children the world, but make sure they know where your world begins and ends. Love them fiercely. Protect them wisely, and never, ever be afraid to say, this is enough. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Every week, we bring you real-life inspired stories that speak to the soul, about family, love, betrayal, and the quiet strength we often forget we have. Leave a comment below if you've ever faced something similar. Your story might help someone else find courage. Thank you for watching. And remember, sometimes, one voice is enough to change everything.